Hi everybody, it's Charles with an entry for Friday the 18th of April 2014, and today I'm going to talk about something that it has to do with something that came up at work. It didn't have anything to do with the actual, the job that I do, but basically I was in the bathroom and I was in the bathroom, the men's bathroom. We have a urinal and then we have a stall. And so somebody was using the urinal. One of my coworkers was using the urinal. And so then I had to go number one too. So I went in there, and then my initial reaction was somebody's at the urinal, time to use the stall. But then I decided no, I didn't want to stall it. So it was just like I'm gonna wait for the urinal. And then I started thinking, why do I not want to stall it? And then I started thinking about the process that you have to do to go pee a number one at a stall. There's toilet seat lifting, you have to work yourself into that little area. And then that led me to start thinking about like what would people think if you installed a urinal at your own house? So like if you just rolled into your friend's house and you just like had to go to the bathroom and then you went to go pee and you just noticed on the wall that there was a urinal. And it was just like, what would be the thought process that would go through your mind if you saw that urinal? And so, of course, the other guy that was in there, sometimes I just come up with random questions. So I was just threw it out to him. I was like, dude, what would you do if you just went to like your cousin's house and you just had to go to the bathroom and then you just fucking shut the door to go to the bathroom and then you noticed there was a urinal on the side? It was like, dude, I don't know what I'd think. And then I just started legitimately like thinking of it as like a legitimate thing, and I think it would be kind of cool. Um, I mean, obviously, using a urinal, it's quicker to go to go number one. I mean, we're going to count strictly in the sense of going pee. Obviously, nobody's going to drop a deuce in a urinal. Like we're not going to pretend that that's like an option or anything. So we're going to completely leave number two. So when I say go to the bathroom, I'm strictly speaking of going pee from this moment forward. Um, so yeah, so when you have to go to the bathroom, the urinal is quicker. I mean, obviously, I still wash the hands even after I go pee. That's just me. A lot of people don't. What's kind of gross is that a lot of people don't wash the hands after the two, but that's beside the point. We're gonna leave that out because that's kind of gross. So yeah, I mean, the urinal when I have to go pee, I like it better. Well, I guess we'll think about in terms of public restroom, and we'll think about in terms of private restrooms. Obviously, when I have to go pee, I prefer. Obviously, in public, when I have to go pee, I prefer the urinal because the urinal, there's no, you don't have to work your way into that stall. There's no little like seat that you have to deal with. Put it up, put it. You know, if you're going pee, put it up. I mean, I don't like to touch it unless I have to, so I usually use the foot to put it up. The shoe. But I mean, sometimes if it's messy, there could be poo on it. There could be feces on it if somebody didn't really like watch what they were doing. I'll say instead of just being like a filthy animal. But sometimes it's clogged, so when you go pee, there's a little bit of splash and it's gross. So obviously there are many reasons of why I prefer to use the urinal when I have to go pee, take a leak. I think that's generally thought of by most men, that they prefer the urinal too. I mean, obviously, I haven't thrown out like a survey, but I think that's a general thing. I mean, I think that the ideas and beliefs that I have are widespread. Um, so yeah, I mean, in public, obviously, less mess, less fuss. So the urinal is, it's preferred. But then again, the problem is that a urinal is also it's kind of messier. The toilet it's just like a bowl. So when you have to clean it, you kind of clean like the whole like you just clean the bowl and the outer rim. But when you clean a urinal, there's a lot of like splash area. You know, you have to clean the floor right underneath it too because some people drip a little. You know, so it's a lot harder to clean. You know, and it's not as like self-contained. I mean, yes, it's a urinal with water just spewing forward, but it's not like a little bowl where water is constantly refreshing. The urinal, you know, it might have water dripping down it, but it doesn't get the sides and everything like that. So a lot of that area is just going to be like covered in urine, and it's just going to sit there covered in urine. So it tends to smell a little bit more than like if somebody had just repeatedly gone number one in a traditional bowl toilet. Um, but I mean, if it's well maintained, well washed periodically, then it's okay. But there is, I think, there's an idea of class behind it. Like when you see a urinal, you don't think like ritzy bathroom. You think like ballpark bathroom, like maybe at a bar, something like that. I guess it's just I think it's because those are the places that you've traditionally seen it. So I mean, what if you started to look in People magazine and then you started to see all these celebrities with like the ritzy mansion, and then they just had a urinal? Would you be able to like? Would it ever start to become a upper class thing, like a ritzy thing? Or would you just like, dude, what the fuck is that urinal doing there? That shit looks low class. Like, why is it? Why is it in fucking like King Henry's fucking bathroom or something like that? Um, I mean, it is a strange question. To me, if I see urinal, I don't think it speaks of upper or lower class. I think it's just different. And to be honest, I think I might be a little bit swayed because I like different things. Not that I like different things. I respect people that try different things because everybody's too focused on like what's the norm, like what's the usual when it comes to like household situations. Like when somebody just goes out there and they're just like want to try something new, I respect it because it's a risk. Like everybody's seen those pictures on the internet where you see 90 houses and they have freaking stairs and all that shit, and they're windy stairs. Oh, how different! And then somebody's got like a slide or like a fireman's pole, and that just blows you away because it's completely different than what you're used to, and it's them taking a risk in terms of home design, and it's strange, and you're just like, oh, that's funny. But in the back of your head, you're just like, holy shit, dude, that's abnormal. That's them taking a risk. That's them deciding, hey, we're going to go against the social norm in terms of home design. We're going to put something that we think would be fun, no matter what the fuck other people think about it, and we're going to do it. I respect that because it's a risk. You're kind of, you're willing to ostracize yourself in a little bit. You're willing to be poked fun at, made fun at, chided about, but you wanted to do it because you felt like it would be something that you would enjoy or something that you wanted to try and you wanted to do. Um, that's kind of a whole different thing, though. I mean, going against the norm is, I could do like a whole series on that, and maybe one day I will. But for me, if you take people that take risks and people that are willing to fail and are willing to be made fun of, are the people that are really the courageous ones, courageous, if I didn't say say that correctly. But yeah, I mean, to have that kind of courage, especially in this day and age where there's a lot of like bullying and there's shit like that, and so people that are willing to take like those kind of risks and those kind of steps to be made fun of or shunned. Not really shunned. If you put a fucking slide in your house, you're not gonna be shunned. But just kind of that. There was the risk. It's a little bit more dangerous than if you had the norm thing. And like I remember one time I was on OkCupid is a free dating site, so I kind of use it as just like a way for me to test like ice breaking and open liners or openings and one liners. So there was this one girl who was just like, I'm very open minded and shit like this, and just like fucking, I go against the norm. And then so I was like, so I was like, all right, so she's obviously like straight edge, like normal, Nancy normal, and she's just putting that because she wants to seem like fucking like not just one of the other 100, people on the website. So I was like, I'm gonna test this out. So I was like, what would you do if you just went to like your boyfriend's house and then instead of on the bed, instead of sheets and pillows, he just had a sleeping bag. and that was it. Just a bare mattress sleeping bag. And then her reply was like, you could tell that she had like struggled to like word it well. I don't remember the exact like quotation of it, but you could tell that she had been like thinking about it. And then she was like, I would think it was a little bit juvenile, and I would question why it was like that. And then in the back of my mind, I was like, of course you would, because fucking that's like when traditional people go over to somebody's house, they want to see the fucking the fitted sheet, they want to see the sheet, then maybe the blanket or the comforter and the pillows. They want to see that shit. I mean, that's because like 98% of bedrooms when they roll in, that's what they're going to see is that. And so when they see something different, they're going to think like, what is that? And then they're going to chalk it up to laziness. In the back of their head, it's going to be like, oh, he didn't want to do the whole sheet thing. He's got to be lazy. That's why he just put the sleeping bag down. Which I'll admit, it kind of does stem a little bit on laziness. Like I myself have done the sleeping bag. I obviously am not. I'm like if I have somebody that I'm really interested in, you have to kind of like, yeah, the sleeping bag is not a good first impression. I'll say the sleeping bag, it's not a good first impression. You're gonna fucking feel somebody out before you let them see the sleeping bag. it's not a good icebreaker because they're gonna look at it and they're gonna think you're a child, B, you're a lazy motherfucker. So you gotta look like you put forth the effort initially at least. Then maybe fucking once they get to know you and they know that you're not fucking 16 and you're not like a pedophile or something, then you know that the sleeping bag is just it's easier for you, and it's just because sleeping makes no difference. But I mean, I guess it is. Well, it is kind of a comfort thing. I mean, some people prefer the whole like the sheets and the blanket thing. And to me, the sleeping bag I enjoy because when I tend to roll sometimes, like especially recently, I've gotten like I have a tendency to roll around and covers get kicked off and then the next thing you know I wake up in the morning and I've got the chills because the covers unfortunately got kicked off of me in the middle of the night and I was asleep and I wasn't woken up enough to like pull them back on, so I slept the whole night, no covers on. Next thing you know I wake up, I got a runny nose. Whereas the sleeping bag eliminates that. It's a lot more, obviously you're in the bag, so the covers don't get kicked off. The warmth is a lot more comforting. And so I enjoy the sleeping bag. I mean, if I have, you know, if I'm going to go a long period of time with obviously without trying to, impress anybody or anything like that, I'm straight up going to go fucking bag on the bed. That's not me saying that I'm fucking, going against the norm or I'm courageous or anything. That's just me being lazy and me just looking to, maximize my comfort. You know, Obviously I'm going to go normal pillows and all of that, but that's just because, there's not much else you can do other than just normal pillows. And normal pillows are, the maximum comfort thing. Like I've tried to go no pillows. I tried that for a little while just because I wanted to see like if it helped my neck out, shit like that, and it actually hurt my neck more. And I didn't get as good a night's sleep because, I guess maybe it was stretching my neck in a weird way. There was no padding here or here, whichever way I was sleeping on, and it wasn't as comfortable. So that's why I use pillows. But yeah, I mean, if I were to go over to somebody's house and I saw the sleeping bag, I would think it was fun. I would think it was, oh, that's unexpected, that's like new, that's a little bit daring. I don't automatically chalk it up to negative characteristics. I don't automatically think childish. I don't automatically think laziness. I mean, to be honest, even if I saw, a giant slide in your hallway instead of the traditional set of stairs, I don't automatically think childish. I don't automatically think lazy. I just think new and fun, and I'm curious as to why you made the choice. I mean, I like to think it's because I'm a little bit more open-minded and a little bit more flexible in what is traditionally like thought of as the norm. Like if you see a set of stairs, it's cool. Like, oh, it's a nice set of stairs. But for them to, like I said, for them to be more daring and to go against the norm, it's a lot more interesting. It's a lot more, like I said, courageous. And I feel like when people do that, when people risk failure and they risk doing something that's viewed negatively, I think it's a lot more interesting than if they had done the norm. So I mean so if I was going to base, like whether or not I would find somebody interesting based purely upon, this whole, the slide, slash fireman's pole versus the stairs, I would obviously pick the slide slash fireman's pole because that seems like, hey, they're a lot more, they're thinking outside of the box, a lot more creative, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I guess maybe that's just a sign of the times. Maybe I'm, a lot more playful in, certain situations like that. I mean, like, I view people, when I view friends and relationships, I view them as, it's people that I'm going to get along with, people that I'm going to have fun with, because, if it does turn out, to work out in a sense, whether or not they're friends or significant others, I'm going to be spending a lot of time with them. So I want somebody that, that I have fun with, that I can play around with, and that I can enjoy their company. I don't really perceive people as, like financial stability or anything like that, or even stable people. I want somebody whose company I can enjoy, and so obviously if they're rigid, and even if they're stable, it's kind of like a ugh, like I do a lot of dumb and weird shit myself. Like I'm not stable in the terms, so it's just like I'm not going to be a good match because I'm a lot more playful than that. But I mean, I guess people, when people, especially, I mean, I remember taking a psychology course, and we talked about like what men and women, the differences between what men and women are looking for in a mate, and it was agreed upon even by the women that women are looking for like a stable slash supportive person who can help them bear and rear children, and men were obviously looking for more of the good time. But there was a subsect of what men were looking for, people where they were looking for women who could mother their children. But I mean, I think a lot of it was just like men were interested in younger women because they could have more fun with them. They were viewed as more attractive and shit like that. And then it was obviously a subsect too. It's just like younger women are better mothers because they're more active, shit like that. I'm not talking about like fucking teens or shit like that. I'm just talking about like maybe early to mid, early 20s maybe to 30s versus getting along to that really high motherhood age. Um, but yeah, I mean the women agreed that they were looking for somebody who could help support them, and then like help protect them and take care of them, help them, help them bring about and raise children in the world. And obviously, if it ever comes down to, and I ever do have children, I hope that I am somebody who can, help bring about and help raise children. But I don't want to be I don't want to be strict. I have friends who have children, and they're a lot more open-minded than, my parents were slash are. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the older traditions have rubbed off on the older people, and so they're a lot less willing to yield when it comes to, traditional things and traditional parenting methods. And, a lot of times it's not an argument with them, it's what I say goes. I'm thinking like, hey, why don't we try this? This seems like a good idea. This is better. Like, but they're thinking, this isn't the way my mother taught me, so fucking, that's not the way we're gonna do it. And unfortunately, I think that viewpoint is a little bit, it's way too old-fashioned to be part of, this world. Obviously times are changing, and I mean, unfortunately, that's the way it is. Like, I think that people have to, get ready, embrace the new things in culture and life if they really want to, survive. Otherwise, there's going to be, they're going to have fights with their children, unnecessary fights if they just looked at things from a different viewpoint. I mean, unfortunately, things like, sex is obviously, it's a lot less like big of an issue. Now I'm sure that most, women are sexually active before marriage, whereas back then a lot more would hold off um, until marriage. I mean, homosexuality is a lot more, I'm not going to say prevalent, it's probably just a lot more open. Now people are willing to be, they're coming out of the closet, whereas back then, people might be in the closet for their whole life. And I mean, I'm thankful that now they feel more open, but that's another issue that we'll talk about some other time. I'm just gonna make a little note here that, I'm happy that they feel more open, because nobody should be fucking shunned because they like who they like. I mean, unless they're taking advantage of somebody, like if you're a pedophile or something and the child doesn't know any better and you're taking advantage of them, then that's a whole nother issue. But for two adults to like each other, they shouldn't be fucking looked down on or shunned. I mean, they should fucking live their life. A man and a woman get married because they love each other. So why can't two men or two women? I mean, I don't understand that, and that's fucking. But then again, we'll get into that later. I mean, I don't want to push that whole issue on the subsect of fucking urinal in bathroom or urinals in like fucking private bathrooms. But yeah, I mean, basically, my whole argument is that I, don't judge somebody just because you go in their house and you see something that's funny, or that you think is funny, or you see something that you think is like weird, because it's probably just a new way of thinking, or it's them just trying something. Maybe if you talk to them about it and you'll say, hey, that's funny, like you got a urinal over there, they'll say like, yeah, I thought it was funny too, I just wanted to see what it felt like and like what people thought of it. And then you'll be able to have a conversation about it. It doesn't mean that they're fucking hardcore urinal and bathroomists and they're fucking joining some kind of cult that, every bathroom in every house that they create has to have a urinal. It doesn't mean that. It just means that maybe they wanted to try something new in life. And those people should be respected because that's thinking outside of the box, that's going in a new direction. And those people are the ones that, oftentimes change the world. That a lot of times traditional people, they fill roles that are left open. This is purely my opinion. Traditional people fill roles that are left open, but people that think outside the box and create new things, they create the new roles. You know what I'm saying? So like the it's kind of like traditional people, they fill, the office jobs that those that are retiring leave open. Whereas people that think about new directions and they take chances, they create the businesses that start up those office jobs. So I'm not saying that that's, it's 100%. I mean, obviously a traditional person who works hard and, can create a business, but it just seems like, innovation should be, cherished in this society because a lot of times it's overlooked or it's not acted upon. Um, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my basis for this video. I know I got a little sidetracked and got a little ranty at times, but that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Thanks for listening.